Been excited to be able to speak to you all for about a month now when I signed up to be the sponsor. You are very welcome. We are located here in Lynchburg. I'll tell you ourselves and about our history. My business partner is Wes Cochran, and he's a second generation. His father was Bill Cochran. I don't know if any of you all knew him. He was a nationwide agent in town for almost. And I started my insurance agency in 1999. I left teaching to go in on a limb, and I've stayed here ever since. So Wes and I combined in 2020 several reasons. First, efficiency, technology. We can share technology and share our resources. Just a little bit about us. We have 7 locations in Virginia and North Carolina. We have 2 locations here in Lynchburg. Old Forest Road, and Wes's is on Laxton Road. We just recently bought a building on Timber. We're combining those 2 offices on Timber Lake. I work and live in Danville, but I'm up here 2 or 3 days a week. We have offices in Amherst, Collinsville, the rural little town, Stewart, like if you're on the way to Chateau Morissette, and we have Walnut Cove. We have 4 dedicated producers that don't do anything but just write new from realtors and loan officers and our other referral sources. That's all that they do. And then 14 personal lines, CSRs, and then we have 1 dedicated trainer. Annually trains our 18 employees. Some of the key represent auto owners next door. When I finish here, I'm literally walking across and I'm eating lunch at auto owners today. So we have Nationwide, Grange, National General, Main Street America, Travelers, among others. So we have, this is just a small fraction of the carriers for both home and auto when your clients are looking for recommendations for homeowners insurance. Why choose us? I would say because we got our game on. For ease of use, usually a presenter wants all of the eyes on this, no cell phones out, but I would like everyone to take their cell phones out and scan the QR code. When you scan the QR code, it's going to have a dedicated telephone number just for this branch of Keller Williams. So if you all call it, it's going to pop up on our caller ID as Keller Williams Lynchburg. So we'll know we are talking to a realtor or someone that you guys have recommended specifically for us. So when our producers pick up the phone, we automatically know that we're with Keller Williams. We've given you all a dedicated text line. So if you want to text us the information of your clients that are looking for a quote, it'll come in Keller Williams Lynchburg. The only thing, it doesn't work like Apple Share Contacts. You can't just share a contact and send it to us. You do have to type out their name. And we have a dedicated web address for you all and dedicated email. So if someone, you just want to send us loan documents or the MLS or whatever you need a quote on, it'll come directly into our inbox and we'll know once again that it's just from this branch. Also, why choose us? We're very technologically savvy. We have referral source identification. We have quick lead follow-up with our 4 dedicated producers. Usually our turnaround time is 5 to 10 minutes to call you all back and just pick up immediately and provide you guys with a quote. Because I know sometimes when talking with other realtors and loan officers that homeowners insurance often holds up the closing of customers, and that's the last thing you all want. You can get that off of your plate quickly. We have a rate comparison tool. I'm sure you all have seen Flow do that with their little, tool to find the lowest price. We also have a rate comparison tool so that once we put the client's information in our system, it returns about 10 homeowner quotes instantaneously. So we automatically know the lowest price for your client. Market availability, we have companies that will take hard to place properties. If they're used as Airbnbs, if they're vacant, if they've got peeling paint, if you've got roof problems, maybe someone's buying it as a fixer-upper for a rental, and the standard companies kind of don't want it because the roof's 30+ years old. We have companies that will take hard-to-place properties. We have competitive pricing, and obviously, since we have an in-house trainer, we have our educated employees that are familiar with underwriting guidelines, so they know if you have knob and tube wiring, who will take that, who won't take that. If it's vacant, if it's an Airbnb, who will take it, who won't. So they're extremely familiar with all of our companies. If you or your client uses a dedicated phone line, This is how it pops up on our producer screen. Keller Williams Realty refer this person to us, treat them like a VIP. So our producers that are smiling and dialing all day long automatically know this is from you all. If they are just cold calling a lead or doing something like trying to do home no auto, auto no home for our existing book, that they need to drop that you guys are a VIP client, this pops up, they stop what they're doing, they immediately start a quote for you all and or your policy holder, or not their bot policy holders, your clients. Hard to place properties, PC 10s, PC 9s. PC 10 is over 5 miles from a fire department and over 1,000 feet from a fire hydrant. PC 9s are within 5 miles of the fire department, but still over 1,000 feet from a fire hydrant. Those are really hard to place. We've got 3 companies that will place those. If you run into something with wood stoves, with Quest piping, trampolines, mobile homes, manufactured homes, pools with diving boards, dangerous dog breeds, you know, maybe they're a great client, they've got a Chow or a Doberman or a Pit Bull mix. We have companies that will take those. We can insure rental and vacant properties, and we can insure Airbnbs and VRBOs if someone's going to buy it and use it as that, because I know a lot of times that's really hard to place. What can we do for you all? Okay. We can host seminars on eligibility so that you guys, when you're in the field, kind of understand what kind of hazards to look for. You might have insurance pricing and concerns due to hazards or coverage concerns. We can do seminars on SEO. My partner just paid $5,000 for a 1-week, like 60-hour course on search engine optimization. So we can teach you what it is, how it affects you, and what to do to increase your ranking on Google. So if they search your name and it pops up and you're not even the top 5 or 6 realtors, they're going to, you know, just keep on looking. So if you guys want your names to learn how to do Google My Business and you want your names to pop up above other realtors in town, we can teach you how to do that. Google and Facebook ads. This is an ad that we created for us, and we can easily create them for you all on a one-on-one basis. So these things look difficult to create, but in actuality, they're really easy. So if you all have your own Facebook pages, if you have a Google My Business, if you have your own particular web page that's separate from Keller Williams and you all wanted to learn how to create these videos, or you all wanted us to create these videos for you all on an individual basis, we're happy to sit down and do this. Also creating memes. I don't know, some people, you know, we put these on our Facebook page all the time. We get a really good response from them. If you all want cute things with your all's name on them, with Keller Williams' name on them, to post on Facebook or other social media outlets, we can do that for you. Google My Business setup. It's kind of complicated to do because you have to go through some back ends and open APIs on Google to get your ranking up. We can fix it so that when we write a policy, it automatically sends out a text message if it's someone we think is going to be pleased with us to give us a Google review. And we have it set up so it just takes them about 15 seconds to do it, hit submit, and then it pops up here. So if you all want to do Google My Business and your Google reviews, we can help you set that up. And brought to you by one of your own Keller Williams agents who isn't here today, but gave me permission to do this. We can teach you all how to generate organic leads from Facebook through user engagement. Kim. So those are Kim's grandkids in the video. And she's really technologically savvy. And she does a lot on Facebook to generate organic leads for her listings. So if you all want help doing this, we can create these for you all too. So you can put them on your own Facebook pages. And then this is me getting a new referral from you all. So this is my contact information. I would love to meet with you all on an individual basis, take you to lunch. If you're interested in learning to do any of this, we would love to do that. And if you'll scan our contact information, keep it in your phone, you know, we want to be a valuable asset to you all. And by the very same token, you all are an extremely valuable asset to us. We love writing homeowners insurance. Every time we write a home policy, it gives us the opportunity for a life policy and bundle home audit. So we're looking to write more business through you all, and we want to help you guys in any way that we can. So do you have any questions for me about what we do or anything?
I just wanted to thank you. We're all eating your Chick-fil-A sponsor, so thank you so much.
We're very welcome.
And if anybody has any questions, if you could just reach out to her individually, because everybody, unless it's relevant to the group, anybody? Thank you
All right.
again.
Oh, you're very welcome. Enjoy Chick-fil-A, guys.
Yeah, thank you. No, you were perfect. Shia, come on up.
You're plugged in all the way?
Yeah. Should I do something else?
Right.
Okay. May birthdays. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Samantha, Aaron, Greg Vince, Drew Coleman, Kristen Connor, Christine Douglas, Travis Hunt, Kim Nicholson, Jennifer Back, April Raymond, Vanessa Robinson, and Alicia Slaughter. There's that little Alicia Slaughter. Supposed to be here today. She has probably show property. Okay, welcome to Keller Williams. We got some May newcomers, Laura McClure right here, Joseph Morgan. I do not see him, and Michael Waldasson is in the Danville office. So welcome, welcome, welcome. See me. Okay, Cappers, Roxanne Harris, and that's on the Bedford team under Hope, and Dan Calloway. His office is right there, but I don't see him today. Okay, look at this, guys. These are all first closings. This is amazing. Aaron Wells, he's in the house. Adam in the house. Alicia, Carl Jackson, Dora. Dora, I loved your little keys. Now let's get to the real part. That was so cute. I followed them and they had me dying laughing. I'm always hearting. Jamie Higgins, Jonathan Macbeth, and Jonathan actually was on both sides of that very first closing and did both sides. Who does that? And then Kyle and Whitney out in Danville, first listing, Jonathan Macbeth, Keller Warrior, and Noah Kessler. So awesome, guys. Who's number one in the market? God bless you. That is Keller Williams. Mark Dalton has actually fallen last month where they were. So keep it up. Love being able to say we're number one in not only volume, but sales. We're doing really good there. I've got new contacts, so y'all just bear with me. This one's multi-vision and this is monovision, and I think I'm crazy. It's very hard. Let's see. Oh, where's my Audrey? Guys, this is so exciting. Audrey, take it away.
Okay, I'm Audrey Roberts, representing the Profitability Committee. On Tuesday, we have a completely free event. Everyone say free.
Free.
So you have no excuse not to come. It is Tuesday, May 24th. It's at American Legion Post 16, 1301 Greenview Drive, right around the corner. So it is basically a hands-on self-defense class. So wear your t-shirts, wear your sweatpants, wear your sneakers. But if you can only come from what you worked into the event, come in that too. We want everyone to come. Hands-on self-defense, basically, they walk you through, no one wants to be like assaulted or anything like that, but we just have to check the reality of it is sometimes we're not in the best situations when we're alone with someone in a house, and their goal is to equip you so that you can escape safely and not become a victim. So please, everyone come. It's going to be really awesome. We also have Piper from Lynchburg Department of Emergency Services coming and doing a small portion on how to place a 911 call and what to expect, because they ask a lot of questions. So, you know, your location is most important. We go to a bunch of different houses. If the only thing you know is your location, they can get to you. So it's going to be some really good information. We're going to equip you so that you have the skills that you need if you need to do that. And we want everyone to be safe. So please come. Yes.
Can we bring a friend?
Oh, thank you. Yes, this is open. We have a really large venue at American Legion, so you can bring someone with you, make an event of it. Other realtors from other agencies, mortgage lenders, if you want to bring them. It is open for you to invite. We are going to be contacting LAR, but we have 250 spots available, so that's a good amount. So please make it a fun night. So, thanks.
Okay. Do we have any questions? So who here thinks they're going? That's it? Guys, y'all can be accosted too. I'm just saying.
Free.
Free. Who thinks they can call another agent from another firm and invite them? If my hand wasn't up, that would be my last day. So seriously, guys, this is for their benefit. This is just for health and safety, and it's great. Audrey, thank you for putting this together. I hope it's a packed house, and I hope it can save somebody's life.
You too.
So I really appreciate it. Yes.
I got to talk to Lenora about the event that happened to her. And she had a skill set that's probably.
Mhm.
And I don't have that skill set. I didn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Correct. One of our agents is doing an open house at Smith Mountain Lake several years ago. She did a very quick FaceTime live. It was seen by this individual. He went, he left, he came back, and he beat her up pretty bad. And if it wasn't for some of the skills she had learned, they said she probably would not have lived. But head injury, trauma, many hospital stays. So we're really blessed to still have her amongst us. All right. Happy birthday. Come on, you missed your birthday introduction. Okay. All right, our lovely Kate Pryor is gonna do an update on Red Day.
Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody. Martha was just so happy. She said to see the difference, the before and after, she was just thrilled about it. So I just feel like everybody came out and was ready to work, and it was just neat. People got different assignments in the basement and killed it with organization, and like it was just neat to see from start to finish how much was accomplished. So she wanted to thank everybody, and we just really were, really happy with how everything went. She was really encouraged and for their ministry and the things that are going to continue. The other thing we just wanted to say too is our Keller Cares Fund. That's a way that we continue to give, whether it's giving within ourselves if something comes up where, someone is sick or has a family member going through something. And sometimes as a team, we can come alongside. And then sometimes, it's being able to give a little bit more to do something specific for someone. So one of the ways you can give to that Keller Cares Fund is when you are getting close to your closing, when you get your commission, there's a selection where you can do Keller Cares, and then you can do for the specific local market center. And that's a way that if you donate each time, you could do $10, or you could do a one time, but that really helps. It can go towards Red Day, but it also goes towards anything else within our market center as needs come up. So we can kind of come alongside one another in the good and in the hard times. So.
Thank you, Kate. And it was, for who went out there to the houses and saw the beginning and then saw the end. Wow. It was really fun. Actually see Stephen on his knees planting a plant. That was actually fun. And thank you, Tabitha, for being my nurse and getting all the splinters out of my fingers for not wearing the proper equipment. So, thank you, Tabitha. All right. All right, guys, what do we have coming up? So lots. So on June 2nd, Kate and I are going to do a class on our training Thursdays at 12, how to get leads for free. How to get leads for free. So we're not going to give you anything. You have to come. So bring your own lunch and you will learn how to get leads for free. And then on June 9th, my guy's moving is coming. He is actually going to provide lunch, but he's specifically going to be talking about things that I did not know. And as much as I've moved, I'm ashamed of myself for not really reading fine print in a moving contract. So he's really going to go down a contract and let you know how it works. On when they say, oh, we're bonded and insured and you have this much insurance, it's all based on weight and different things. So it was the most interesting thing I've heard in a long time. So he's going to go through specifics just so you have that knowledge when you're talking to your client about what moving company to pick and what they need to look out for. So I think that's going to be fun. Our own Scott Fogelman, principal broker, we'll be doing an LAR contracts class. That is a bring your own lunch. It's going to be a 2-hour class. He's going to go really in depth. What you should know, and we should all know our contracts. It is a legal document to be able to explain to our buyers and sellers whatnot. So June 23rd is going to be our next monthly sales meeting at noon, and it's sponsored by
Should Be Cutco.
Should Be Cutco. That's a new company. Should Be Cutco. Not Cutco, but Should Be Cutco. I think it will be because he's also a friend of mine. Let's see, June 30th, we have America's Preferred, but guess what? He is actually going through the state of Virginia and he is licensed to actually give y'all CE credit. So you can come eat for free, sit here for an hour and get CE credit. So that is going to be on the 30th. Do we have our guys ready?
Trent.
It's coming. Oh, real quick, Scott. You have 4 minutes to talk. Yeah, hurry.
So the biggest thing that keeps coming up is the difference between a termination of contract and a release of contract. That was a question of the week, and does anybody else know the answer to that? Anybody want to add to it?
There's a big difference between who signs those two.
Yeah, so the termination of the contract is unilateral. If someone is, if the other side of the transaction you feel is in violation of the contract or breaking the contract, you can sign a termination And that ends the contract right away. You don't have to wait for it to be signed by the other party. It's done. So that will help you with your buyers and your listings. Primary example is your buyer can't put another offer in another property until you get a termination. Your seller can't put the property back in the market until you have a termination. Now, that does leave the earnest money deposit. That can be determined later. Everything else can be determined later. Maybe your seller wants to sue. Well, that leaves them the opportunity to sue. They just releases the contract so that they can go out and sell. And also it reserves the right for you to sue for your commissions. Just to make sure you're aware. Now, the release of contract is when they both agree to what's going to happen to the contract and they release each other from harm and they figure out what's going to happen with the AMD. And so this way they can avoid court. Doesn't mean you can't sue them, you know, if you're on a commission, but it does mean that they can't sue each other and that they have a agreement as to what happens with the money. Now, if you're in a particularly difficult situation, you can actually send both. You send a termination of contract just so you're done and over with, and you go on to the next, new contract or next house or next buyer, whatever it might be, and then wait for them to do the release. Wait for them to send their part of the release back. That's why Carol used to tell you a lot, just go and send both of them. Because one of them just finalizes everything really quick and then allows you to come to an agreement on what happens to the EMD. Any questions, please come see me. I'm happy to go over this, in depth every time it happens. And by the way, Audrey actually won this week because we had 3 people with the right answers for the question. And so I have a gift card for her. And then of course, is anybody here from Danville? Anybody going to Danville this week? They can take a gift card? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna give y'all one really quick scenario. You may or may not know, but it's very interesting because I had to use this. So keep in mind, don't send a termination if you don't have right to send the termination. So that's kind of important. But let's say it's in an HOA. Let's say you've contracted in Cornerstone, they have an HOA. Buyers, for whatever reason, you put $1,000 deposit, it's being held over at Pike Title, okay? For whatever reason, Alice, we don't want the house anymore. Let me think, oh, I don't even have the HOA docs yet. Did you know it is legal? If it's an HOA, and you still haven't even received the documents yet, you can send a termination and a release and be completely out of that contract, and they have to give your money back, even though you haven't even received the docs yet. They'll freak out, they'll think you're crazy and say, oh, okay, I was just doing your seller a favor because we're gonna get out anyway, but when you wanna get it back on the market, we're getting out anyway. I'm just letting you know, we found out from somebody else in the HOA, you couldn't do this or this. Actually, you don't have to explain anything, but that is a right in the contract to get out. So terminate and release, you don't have to wait for the package. Kind of neat tidbit. All right. We are gonna, you need this, right?
Yeah, I'll switch it over.
All right, keys, please. We have a guy zooming in.
Hi there.
To do this presentation. Right on schedule.
Stop mine.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
I see him.
Can you hear me?
Make sure the TV volume's on. Can you hear me that one?
Which one? Hold on, Trent.
That's okay.
Oh, there you go.
Now can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect.
hear you now.
All right. Well, thank you all for having me. My name is Trent. I am the customer support manager with Key Please, and we're really excited to be partnering with you guys. And I'm excited to share with you about our service. I do have a handful of slides that I'd like to run through. So let's see. Yep, it'll let me share my screen. So I'll get these pulled up. But Key Please is an app that's all about getting your buyers in a property so that they can see it faster and so that they can that you can sell it faster. And this was developed by a Keller Williams agent. Her name is Pam Griffith, and she is out of the KW Roswell Market Center. And her business partner, Kathy Horgan, who has a corporate background, they came together and they came up with Key Please. So I'm really excited to share it about you, and I'll just get right into it. So this is no news to you guys, but it's the old 80-20 rule in real estate. So you have 20% of the agents doing about 80% of the transactions. And what we learned from talking to that 20% is about a quarter of the time, they just need an extra hand to open a door for them to get somebody into a property. And then that remaining 80%, they need experience and they need money to grow their business and to stay in the business. So typically, if you're looking for help, you may post on an internal Facebook site or call or text people in your office and say, hey, you know, I'm looking for help. And then you got to figure out how much you're going to pay. And sometimes that post gets buried on Facebook and it's just way too manual and inefficient. On top of that, you have the 80 million millennials who are shifting to own. They've grown up with a cell phone in their hand and they expect on-demand service. And with talking with these millennials, what they're telling us is that they're going to circle back to that agent who they're already working with, and they're okay with another agent letting them into that property. They just want to see the property because we all know in this market that if you can't get them in the door, they'll find somebody else who can, because that property is going to be gone. So what we came up with was Key Please, which essentially digitizes the process of connecting a busy agent with an available agent, and it's all within your brokerage. So it leverages the power and talents of that entire brokerage. And what we really wanted to do, our end goal, is to develop a community that allows all agents to be more successful in real estate. So I'll just kind of give you a run through of how it works quick for a home showing. So let's just say a client calls or texts you and says, hey, 123 Main Street just hit the market. We all know it's not going to last. I'd like to see it at 3 o'clock today. Well, you look at your schedule and 3 o'clock doesn't work for you. You're tied up with meetings or writing contracts. And so what you're going to tell that client is, hey, I'm unable to show that property for you. However, let me find somebody from my team that can. So you're going to log into Key Please, and this is what the main screen looks like. So at the top, you can schedule a home showing, open house, and runner. And so for this example, we'll click on home showing. And then if you're an available agent, you'd come down to the bottom here where it says opportunities. And that's where you can see the available opportunities that are waiting to be claimed. So click on home showing. You're going to type in the property address. When you do that, we're actually tied to Google Maps. So you will see this little white house and a blue circle pop up. And then all these keys around here, these are agents from your brokerage that have signed up from Key Please and have their notifications turned on. So just by looking at this map, I can relax a little bit. I know somebody's going to be able to complete my showing. So I'm going to click next and request an agent. When I do that, an in-app notification goes out to all of those agents. It's first come, first serve. So whoever is the first one to claim that opportunity is then the one that will complete that showing for me. The information between the two parties is shared inside of the app. It's really, really important that that showing agent immediately gets in touch with that hiring agent or the person that's requesting the showing to coordinate those specific details. That's when you can coordinate who needs to schedule that showing with the listing agent or enter it into showing time. Once those two connect, that showing agent will go and complete the showing. They'll go back to the Key Please app, press the complete button. When they do that, it's also going to ask for some mandatory showing feedback. So let's say you have 2-3 homes that you needed shown. For example, you could put in there, you know, hey, the buyers did not like the floor plan on the first home. However, they loved the second one. They're going to call you with an offer. Anything like that that is important for that agent to know, you can put in that showing feedback field. And then when you press the complete button, payment then automatically processes directly through that back end, which I'll talk to you about here in a minute. So besides a home showing, there's 3 main core capabilities to the app. So you can also schedule an agent to help you with an open house if you need assistance for if you have multiple listings going on at the same time and multiple open houses in the same weekend. And we also have what's called a runner, and that can be anything. So let's just say you need lock boxes picked up or dropped off at a property. Maybe you need signs placed a couple days in advance of an open house, or around the holidays, dropping holiday gifts off for clients. Any real estate task that's that you need completed that's going to give you more free time in your schedule, you can utilize that runner feature. And we've been seeing a big increase with those lately. Maybe you just need somebody to open the door for a contractor or a plumber. Anything like that, you can utilize that runner feature. So I mentioned payment. Payment processes through a company called Stripe. And if you haven't heard of Stripe, I can almost guarantee you've used them. So if you look at this list of companies on the screen here, it's the same payment provider that runs the backend system for Amazon, Uber, Lyft. Most major companies use Stripe, and that's for two reasons. One being that Stripe has the highest level of security out of any payment provider in the market, which was very important to us when we created the platform. And the second reason is that we as KeyPlease do not hold any of your financial information. So it's all encrypted and secure into that Stripe gateway. And so that can kind of give you some peace of mind knowing that your information is secure with them. So how much does it cost? There's no cost to download. There's no cost to or subscription fees or cost to the brokerage. The only fees that you'll ever see are the transaction fees that apply to each use. And those are paid by the people that receive the benefit. So let's just say you have a $30 transaction that you're going to pay somebody to drop off a lockbox for you. So that hiring agent is going to, they determine the price they're willing to pay. So I'm going to pay $30. That 14.5% translates to about $4.35 on that $30 transaction. And so on my credit card statement, I can expect to see a total charge of $34.35. It's very transparent inside the app. When you set that price, there's a little slide bar back and forth, and it'll tell you exactly the total charge that you can expect to see on your statement. Now, for the showing agent, they just pay a small 2.99% transaction fee. That just goes to help cover some of those Stripe fees that we incur. And so on that same $30 transaction, KeyPlease would take out 90 cents and they would receive $29.10. So it's kind of similar to DoorDash or Uber Eats, similar fee structure to that, but those are the only fees that you'll ever see with the app. And it's very transparent in there, so you'll always know upfront what those transaction fees are going to be. And so I mentioned earlier that I cover the support team. So if you ever need to get in touch with us, support@keyplease.com. That's our email address. It's the best way to get in touch with us. We constantly check that inbox. So if you have questions or just want assistance, you can always reach out to us. Additionally, we host virtual training every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. So we'll make sure that we send that link out to everybody so that you can have that if you want to jump on and join us for a deep dive into the app. If you're brand new to the brokerage, so Crystal did a great job of getting me all of your information within the last couple of weeks. So we should have everybody's information, but if you're brand new, we may not have you in their system yet. So if you get an error message or anything that says it can't locate you, please just send me an email with your agent license number and what brokerage you're with. We'll get you added and you'll be able to sign up right away. Lastly is feedback. So we love agent feedback. We're constantly striving to make KeyPlease the most powerful tool for all of you. So if you ever think of an idea or an enhancement that you'd like to see added to the app, please let us know. We take all of that feedback into consideration when we map out our innovation pipeline. And we actually just launched two major enhancements to the app. So I'll just kind of cover those quickly here before the end. But we launched something called My Favorite Agents and then Radius. And so let's just say for favorites, you have maybe a KW luxury listing or a buyer that just needs a little bit extra hand holding, and you would really prefer that that went to somebody from your brokerage that you already have an established relationship with. So inside the app, you can create a list of agents from your office that have already signed up with KeyPlease, and then you'll have three options. So you can send it to just those list of agents. You can give them an advance notice of that opportunity. And then, of course, you can still send it to all. If you need to get that showing covered, that's definitely going to be the quickest way. So that kind of gives you some flexibility to pick and choose who you want that opportunity to go out to. So you can access that via the menu inside the app. And if you have questions, please just let me know. I can help you with all of that. And then the second big enhancement we just launched is Radius. So we had a lot of people that said, hey, you know, I only want to be notified of opportunities within a certain area because that's really the only area that I work or would be interested in working in. So now inside the app, when you sign up for the first time, it's going to default to 50 miles from your market center address. So to change that, you can just go into your settings and you can set that based on a fixed location. So if you want that to be maybe your home address, or you can also, if you want something a little more fluid, you can set it to your GPS. And then for your radius options, it can go as low as 1 mile and as high as 100. So that flexibility is in there. You can basically draw a circle around the area that you want to work and then only be notified of those opportunities. So I know that was a lot of information. We also have a Facebook website that you can check us out on. We post all of our enhancements on there. And of course, our email address is support@keyplease.com. But I'm going to go ahead and take down the slideshow. And if you have any questions, I would love to answer those for you while you've got me here. So any questions that I can answer, you can shout them out and I'd be happy to answer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When, say, it pings out, does the person see how much you're paying?
Yes. So when an opportunity is sent out, it'll let them know that there's an opportunity near them and it'll list the address. If they click that notification, it'll take them to that opportunities page, and then they'll be able to see the time frame. So you can schedule it either ASAP, which means you want somebody to head immediately to that property, or you can set a window. So let's just say you have 3 homes that you want shown between 1 and 3 today. You can also set a start and an end time. It'll list then also that amount that that agent is willing to pay, unless those any fees in that net pay amount. So you can see the time, the address, and how much the agent's going to pay. If that works for you, you'll click that claim button, and then that's when that information gets shared.
Does anybody have any questions?
Trent, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You had said that when someone does claim, it's just on them to talk to whoever the agent was. That's done outside of the app. Like I see their contact information, I claim it, and then I call them, they call me. Is that done through the app or is it all outside?
Great question. So their phone number is shared in the app, and there's a little message that you can click to text them, and then it'll take you to your messages or to call them. So that the actual communication is outside of the app, but the contact information is shared within the platform. And then you can just click those little bubbles based on if you want to text them or call them to then coordinate those specific details. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Any other questions you guys have?
I like how you're paid immediately. I mean, if you're going to open up 3 doors and they're offering $30 each address or whatever it is, minus the 90 cents, I mean, you just made, I got to do it real quick, $89, you know.
Make some money.
$87 and some change. So, but you set the price, right? So if
That's
I have
correct.
something in, like obviously far away, I'm probably gonna offer a little bit more money or nobody's gonna take it because gas is now $4.30 a gallon.
That's
So
exactly right.
Right.
Yep. So we know that each situation is a little bit different. So that's why we left that flexibility up to the hiring agent. And once we get your brokerage and quite a few agents signed up on here, most of these opportunities are claimed very quickly, for sure, less than a minute. And sometimes they're even claimed in 10 seconds or less. So if they're priced right, they definitely will be taken right away. I will tell you, if your opportunity sits there for quite a while, like say 15, 20, 25 minutes, usually it's because it's priced a little too low and there may not be agents nearby. So there's an edit feature. If you go in there and throw another $10 on there, usually somebody will pick it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like it. Anybody have any other questions? And you said it's free to just to sign up.
Yep.
I think everybody needs to just sign up and then you can choose if you're available or not available. Oh, that's another thing. So it sounds like to me, it's almost like Lyft. You tell, like if I'm in Florida, which everybody knows I go a lot, my mom and daughter live there. But anyway, I would just slide, I'm not available, right?
Yep, so there's a notification switch inside the app. So if you don't want to be notified of any opportunities, you could just shut that off. And then when you're back in town and want to pick up jobs, you can turn it back on and then be notified of those opportunities.
Can you read that question?
Yes, Samantha. So if you are with another, so the question is there a way to use it with 2 market centers? So yes, you can. Right now, you'll need to set up a second account with a different email address for the Lynchburg office, but then absolutely you can switch between those accounts and it'll let you. We're hoping in the future to have a way to merge those together so that you can manage different license in different states. But right now you will need to set up 2 accounts. But if you want to send me an email, I'd be more than happy to help you with that.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to throw my email in the chat. So please feel free to reach out and I can assist you wherever you need assistance. Thank you.
Support it, please, please, please. Support it, please. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Technology. Okay. I believe Tracy. So Tracy's gonna do a tutorial on showing time. And
Very
hold
quick.
on. That,
How many of you guys have used Showing Time? Yeah, so on the listing side, I don't do it for every listing, but those where you know you're gonna have a gazillion people calling, texting, asking all of the time, it's been really helpful to manage your time as a listing agent and giving some flexibility to the people signing up. So if you haven't used Showing Time, I'm gonna give some really quick tips. And setting up your listing using Showing Time. LAR pays for this product. If we don't keep using it, they're going to discontinue it. And so the more we use it, the more users are going to go, oh, well, the more people are using it. And it's a helpful tool for us, both as listing agents and as buyer's agent. So let me see this. So here, this is my LAR screen, my MLS screen. You can go into Showing Time from there and set up all your parameters. So recently, I have had a listing that it was complicated. You know, there were codes, there were cats, there were birds, there was a little bit of everything that needed to be avoided in the listing. So sending out instructions, this was really helpful. Everybody who signed up got the instructions. Stay away from the bird. Don't go near the bird. Lock the door when you leave. So that every single time they got that instruction when they signed out. So if you're setting up your listing, you're going to get your calendar together. So this is the complicated one that I had set up. So you can put in your showing instructions, whatever that is. You can set up 15-minute intervals if you want to be really quick. You can do 30-minute intervals if you want to give them more time. So to maximize things there, you can provide whatever information, and you can restrict whatever time zones you want to. You have to do that from the computer. Now, there's also an app that you can use on the fly. And I would not recommend setting up your listing parameters on the app like I did the first time, because it's not nearly as user-friendly to use. And you're not going to be able to do the restrictions, the appointment settings that you would want to. I had to go in and set up appointments for myself so that I could claim those times, and that's just a really awkward way to do it. So use it from the computer when you set it up the first time. And then what's great is you can see all of the appointments that have been set. So if this listing had back-to-back showings, every 15 minutes was filled up. And then I'm like,
didn't know who had signed up, who was sending offers. You can send out a blast message from Showing Time to all of those people and let them know, what you're doing with offers. You can communicate right from there, and you can request feedback and keep track of your feedback all here on your desktop. It's a lot easier from the desktop than it is from the app. The app is more for buyers showing things, but it has some functionality in there as well. So let's see, what else? From the buyer standpoint, let's see if I can get into this one. Audrey, are my glasses over there? I can't see a thing.
I could give you contacts.
Pop them out. Let's see. Cancel, yeah, thank you. Any questions on the listing side? Yes,
I have a question. That's why you're in the RVAR. Is it in both?
that's a good question. I don't know. I'm not in the RVAR, so I'm not sure. Has anybody seen it in RVAR? This is LAR. So anybody know that they may not be paying for it because it is a product that the LAR is paying for. And if it's underutilized, they're going to discontinue it. But that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that. It's, oh, here's the listing activity report. So it's a good down and dirty way of showing your clients how many showings you had, keeping track of all of your feedback, comments. You can set up in here, the default feedback is, and you've probably all done this, anybody who's been a buyer's agent, you keep getting, feedback notifications, please give feedback 3 days after they've accepted an offer, so that's a setting that you would do in here. Ask for feedback one time or ask it for twice so that it's done, because we all know it's not going to be there.
It's funny.
I know. So these are the comments from it. The only negative that I've heard in using it for my listings is that some agents, number one, old school agents don't want to do it this way. So you have to have a little polite text that says, hey, could you, thanks so much. Could you please do this in Showing Time so that you have everything in one place. You do have the ability as a listing agent to go in and schedule them if they refuse to use the Showing Time app because they don't know how to do it. And then I heard from one younger agent that he had a hard time using the app, that it never worked for him. He had to do it from there. Have you had that experience, John?
Yeah, I have a hard time using the app.
You had to do a from the buyer's perspective.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I've used it as a buyer's agent, I haven't had any trouble, so I can't isolate
There's
that
a
out.
couple hiccups that I've hit where like it literally is broken for an hour or two.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then you have to text the agent.
Okay,
But if you have an iPhone and you do it on your Safari, like go to the MLS website, you can do it from there pretty easily.
okay. Good to know. Keeping those things in, and in those kinds of situations, if you text the agent, they'll help you out and they'll be able to put the appointment in there too, and you'll still have all the functionalities. Any other questions on Showing Time? I think it's a useful tool, especially for listing agents, even if it is a little bit of pain for buyers agents, but for those listings where it's going to be every 15 minutes. I like it from the buyer's point of view, where if I have to cancel a listing, I don't have to text the agent, go, I'm canceling, or, ooh, actually I need 4 o'clock instead of 3. Can we do that? Because that's a big pain in the neck. You can actually see the whole schedule and decide if you can tell your client, no, you can't cancel or push, because you see the schedule. And you can go ahead and cancel it and redo it, and the listing agent doesn't have to be bothered. That's a nice function, I think.
Also, if block time, if you have somebody that's sleep, because they go to work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the appointments may not even start till 3, if that makes sense. So there is no arguing of what's still available. So they can literally go in and say, well, we can't even show it today, it's all full.
Yeah.
But I do like what Tracy did. She went in and did a couple of dummy appointments. What's good about that, maybe the first and the last, I would say, put them in for yourself in case there's a hiccup or somebody booked a time, had to move it and there's no more availability, but then maybe you can give them that dummy appointment that you made. Just different thoughts of how to work around it.
Kathy, did you have a question?
Yeah, the confirmations, like you get.
Yes.
Because I've used it from the buyer side and you don't necessarily get confirmation, they don't get back to you. So then you're like.
You can look in here and it'll say if it's confirmed, but I've never, 'cause the confirmation is really easy. You can just hit Y. When you get, as a listing appointment, you get a text that's how I had it set up. Somebody wants an appointment, I just hit Y. That's it, it sends.
What
and
you're
it
saying
went
though
through.
is when I did it, you didn't confirm me back. Like
Yeah.
I had to go on and look and it was just green. I was like, oh, okay. It's different, but it didn't like,
Yeah.
I didn't get a notification. that the
That's a
listing-
user error and I.
Or is it a lazy agent that just
Exactly.
didn't respond?
Yes,
Yeah.
right, not your error there.
Yeah,
That happens. Okay, and if you have any questions, I think it's an easy tool, but it's not without some little quirks, but from the listing side, it's awesome in making your life manageable with those crazy listings.
Do you have any questions?
I'm glad other people have an issue with the app, because showing time app is garbage, MLS app is garbage.
MLS app is bad, yeah, I agree with you. But as listing agents, we're not always out there to please the buyer's agents, right? We're out to make our day. We're there to make our lives.
All right, now we are going to go straight to a mastermind. So we would love for everybody to stay. It's gonna be very casual, lots of fun questions. So Tracy, John, and Skylar Higgins, we're gonna put y'all up here. Now, switch y'all around here. What are we talking about? How to get your offer accepted.
I remember it from 3 days ago, 'cause that's. First time, yeah,
We're gonna have you to stay, right? You're staying, right? Okay. Okay, good.
So you're out again, so you go in,
Okay, it's not gonna be long.
go high. It is. It is.
Thank you.
All right, just take a minute or two and then we will roll with this.
Well, I mean, do you want to start?
And we're videoing this, right? Good.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna sit on this side. Facilitate some questions. Are y'all ready? Oh, yeah, panel.
John, come to the bathroom.
Good, thank you.
I'm actually.
Well, I had to leave at 10:07.
So I grew up in Surrey, about 3 hours for Newport News.
I couldn't do it in 5, so.
And then I came here for school, like a lot of people. I've been here. But some how long have you been in the area?
30 years. But that doesn't qualify you as a neighbor.
Depends on how long you brother lives. A lot's changed for 30 years.
All right.
You have 2 brothers.
Well, no, 6 years.
Are you? 2 brothers. Two sisters lives here, brothers.
All right, guys, we're gonna get started.
All kind of staying.
All right, I am gonna start, well, introducing everybody. Of course, y'all just heard from Tracy. This is Skylar Higgins, and this is John Gregory. So we have different ways of how to get your offer accepted. This has been a little crazy. Sometimes you're writing, what, 9 and 10 offers for the same buyer on all these different houses, and we're losing. So, John, I'm gonna actually start with you. Give us some tips, tricks, what,
Tips, tricks?
yeah, what hasn't worked for you and what has worked for you of late.
I'm gonna stand up because that's how I give you guys energy. And I just don't talk as well if I'm sitting. So, first of all, I've got to say, like, the reason that we're being asked to talk about this at all, the reason it's a discussion topic is this might be the most important skill in our market for the last like 2 years, right? If you can't do this, then you better get listings, right? Otherwise, you're not gonna get paid. So this is super, super important to get down. If you're struggling with it, step one is to realize you're struggling with it, and that's why you guys stay. So I'm gonna talk about 3 different things, and then they'll have their own things to say as well. So we might kind of cross over a little bit. But the 3 things that I wanted to mention to you guys today is, number one, what do you actually write in the contract? What do you write in the offer to get it accepted? There's some other stuff that we got to talk about too, though. What do we say to the agent? So number 2, what are we actually going to say to the other agent on the other side that's going to give you the edge? And then number 3, which hopefully you guys are thinking about this too, what do you say to your client? I mean, you can write the perfect offer. If you don't say the right things to your client and they don't sign the offer, it's not going in, right? I mean, the perfect offer is what? What's the perfect offer, guys? Cash offer, a gazillion dollars over asking price, close in 24 minutes, right? If you can't get your client to sign that, it doesn't matter, okay? So step number 3 is gonna be what to talk to the client about. So let's start with number 1, and I'm gonna go really light on number 1 because I know that these guys have a lot of stuff to fill in on like what to put in your offer. Who here doesn't know how to write a good offer? We kind of know what's a good offer, right? Again, like the highest price you could possibly pay that the house is worth. That's gonna be good. If you have cash, like Kelly said, that's gonna be good. Cash is king. It definitely wins over something that's a loan. What if you have a loan? Appraisal gaps, right? So right in there, somewhere very clear, and have your client initial, we are willing to pay X amount over the appraisal if it doesn't appraise for that price. That's gonna waive a lot of fears from the listing agent, from the seller. That's gonna get you accepted if you're not cash. That's how you beat a cash offer. Inspections. So if we can go ahead and do as is, that's better, right? What trumps as is?
No inspection.
No inspection at all, right? And somewhere in the middle is we'll do an inspection for information purposes only, right? But no inspection at all. Let me ask you a question. If your client really, really wants the house, and if you're a good agent and you have double checked the HVAC, you double checked the roof, you double checked all the pipes, you double checked the electrical, everything is looking pretty solid and you know the HVAC is broken. Why don't we just go all in here? Like, why are we writing offers where we're making loopholes for ourselves to get out of the deal? That's exactly what causes you not to get the deal. If you are convicted enough, if you're convincing enough to your buyer that you know that they want it, and we already know the HVAC's broken and everything else is looking really solid, why not waive the inspection? Okay, that's my philosophy. That's something you guys have to deal with on your own, but that's kind of the responsibility that I bring with my buyers. All right, so don't fill in the gaps on like what to write in the contract. All that stuff we can keep talking about. But let's go on to number 2. So this is something else I wanted to share. What do we say to the other agent that will help us get information to close the deal? Well, number 1, I think information is power. So if you go in and say nothing to the other agent, you don't know how many offers there are on the table. You don't know what kind of showings they've had. You don't know if they've already accepted an offer. So my recommendation, this is something I do on every single deal. I ask the agent in such a way that it helps them and it helps me. I ask them for information because we both have the same goal. If Nadine has 10 offers and I ask to show the house and she needs to pick one by like tomorrow morning at 11, it's in Nadine's best interest and her client's best interest to tell me that they have a lot of offers, right? And if you guys know Nadine, she's going to tell you that they have a lot of offers, but there's other agents out there that won't tell you. And so I always ask, after I set up the showing, this is John Gregory with Keller Williams, can I show the house tomorrow at 12? Right after, when they say, yes, you can, thank you so much, I'll say, hey, is there a lot of activity or anything that you would like me to share with my client? So I help them, and then they help me. They like me because number one, I'm like actually teaming up with them in a way. They also give me the information to help close my own buyer, right? So they say, yeah, we have a couple coming. And then I now know I have information. Information is power. I can go ahead with my buyer and help close them a little better because there really are offers coming. Maybe there are no offers, right? I have the information. So that's what I say to the agent. What don't I say to the agent? Also, just as important, we speak on our team about this all the time because when you're a new agent, you don't know what it's like to be a rock star agent, right? To be a Skylar Higgins, to be a Tracy. You don't know what it's like to be a rock star agent and have all these people hitting you up on showing time. People are calling you even though you've got your showing time app set up, right? It's so frustrating. Like they're getting so many calls. So don't be that agent that calls just to check up on some things before you even ask your client if they want to see it, right? Don't be that person. If they have showing time listed, use showing time. Only text if you really think your client's going to like it and you want to know how many offers there are, right? Only text for that purpose. Don't be texting Tracy when she's got her showing time set up. Don't be calling her and leaving her voicemails and asking non-relevant questions. Okay, so don't do that. I would recommend using the system that they have in place. All right, number 3, what do we say to the client? And this might be the most important thing. I think we all have limiting beliefs. There's a limiting belief that I have, that you have, that your client just doesn't have the money. They would never win anyway. We don't want to push them because then they're going to be poor and now they have no more money. What are we forgetting? They actually want the house. Thank you, Caleb. Caleb's been in my trainings. They actually want the house. Like that's the whole purpose. They're wasting time with you, right? Looking at houses, putting in offers, signing the stuff for you. The whole reason they talk to the lender in the first place is they actually want that beautiful home. That is the goal. I have a slide that we normally put up. It says it's all your fault, right? It is your fault. I have a philosophy that if your offers aren't getting accepted, it's not your client's fault. It's your fault. Take that kind of responsibility where you actually are the advisor and you guide them. This is what I see too often. I see the agent that's working with the buyer. They just agree with their buyer. And so their buyer comes in and they say, it's not really worth, it's not even worth the asking price. So we definitely can't even do asking. Too many agents, especially when they're new, will say, yep, you're right. You're right. It's not worth it. Let's do 5 under and see if we can get that. And the agent will say, okay, let's do it. And they sign that offer and they don't get it. Guess who the client is going to blame? The client is not going to blame themselves. The client is going to blame you, the agent, because you're the trusted advisor. And what you should have said was, no, I came prepared. They have 6 offers. I asked ahead of time. This is why they're selling. They have 6 offers. And clearly, what's a house worth? It's worth what someone will pay for it. 6 offers means they're getting at least 15 over. We need to go at least 17 over, if not more, if we even want a shot at winning this. That's what you tell them. Now it's up to them if they do what you say, but you actually said the information. So what do we say to our clients? We actually come with information. I'm going to give you guys another little tip. Okay, this is something I do. You don't have to do this. You can go in there and just wing it, which I do sometimes, right? If it's a good friend of mine, maybe I'll wing it. But I almost always, especially on my first meeting with a new lead, I will show up prepared with at least 1 or 2 comps for every single house that I show. I bring an iPad. I snapshot it or screenshot it. I put it on my iPad and I show it with the iPad, not because I like notes and I like to know what things are worth. No. I'm bringing it not for me, I'm bringing it for them. I'm going to show them that the property is actually worth what I'm saying. And I'm going to bring the proof of the other 6 offers that are already in on the property. And because I'm prepared, I know it's worth the money. I can prove it with 2 or 3 comps on my iPad. And I can prove it by saying there's a lot of offers. My clients make good offers, period. And if they don't make the good offer, they know they have to blame themselves because their agent told them what to do and they didn't do it. That's all I got. You guys got any questions about it?
So how do you make a client comfortable if you think it's a situation where they should waive the inspection and they are that client that's like extremely fearful of that, fearful of the unknown?
Yeah.
Just curious to know if the thought process is the same. I will tell them about a home warranty as an option to kind of protect them. Of course, it doesn't cover structural stuff, but your electrical, plumbing, all that stuff. Is that a way to help comfort them? But
So you can't tell them not to do an inspection, and one way to circumvent that is if you do 5, 8, 10 offers and they miss them all, talk to a non-busy home inspector and schedule times for them to go to the appointments that they really, really like, to do a quick 20-minute, while you're in the house, go over everything. That way they're getting from the inspector, it's on them if they miss anything. But that's gonna be hard to find a non-busy home inspector.
I did it on the fly last Friday. Athena has done that for me on the fly because we had an offer. The agent told us come back or came back and said, no, we need to do a no repairs. My client's first time home buyer, and the mini split wasn't working when we saw it. And she showed up and did a down and dirty 30 minutes, went over the major systems, and we got through it and signed it and initialed it and got it ratified before he could keep showing, because he kept showing it. Had it through it. So they're out there, but yeah, you got to plan in advance and don't pick the ones that your clients are serious about, or you think they're serious about.
Chris, you want to go next? And
Well, John did such a great job. I hate to follow that, but so I sort of have the don't do's. So he did do's, what to write in a contract. So don't write your contract to make it too complicated. So in other terms, you have we can waive inspections. There are ways that you can mitigate the waiving inspections by saying, we'll waive the inspection unless there's a $5,000 single fix or a $10,000 single fix. Then we have the right to negotiate or terminate and get our EMD back. That's a ploy that you'll see. If it's written plainly, sometimes that can work, but it's probably not going to work against a no inspection. And so you got to know how many offers you have. But even just giving your client that comfort. But if you're still losing it, it boils down to money and terms and what the client wants. So if the client wants to live there for free until August, which happened to me, you either say, yes, it's fine for them to live there for free, the seller, or you don't, because your client need to move in July. And despite going 50 over with no home inspection and a $5,000 non-refundable EMD, we lost it for 15 days of rent, not paying rent, because my client really did need to move in July 15th and get his kids ready for school. And the other client's like, no, you can have till August. And this was 2 weeks ago. So that's 3 months, 2 payments. And we lost it because of that. You do what your client, but don't write the offer that's too complicated that no one can decipher. I've had people do this on the listing side, and I'm like if you waive if you're gonna do a appraisal gap, you're gonna pay over the appraisal. Make it simple. Don't go, if this scenario happens, we'll do this. But if it appraises for this, we're gonna do this other thing. Because if there's 5 offers with all that junk in there, it's just really hard to decipher which one is best. And then calling the agent and trying to explain to them why that doesn't help either. You're just explaining why it's complicated. And I don't want to deal with that, especially when there's a simpler offer on the table. Putting too many caveats, like what I just said, $5,000, like we'll waive the home inspection unless there's a $5,000 repair that's needed. That's a caveat. You might get by with that depending on the number of offers there are, but it goes back to doing your research. If you know there's 7 offers, you got to go in with their biggest guns and just lay it all on the table the first time. It may work, or they may want to stay till August and your client can't do that. And that's okay too. I draw the line at anything that my client is uncomfortable with or can't afford to fix. So I feel like there's 2 categories, 250 and below. What are you going to offer? Put in an offer, and your client's situation. I agree with John. Yes, they want the house, but I want them to talk to me in a year. and 2 years and 3 years. And I want their referrals. And so I am very sensitive, and I will push to the point, if we put this in the contract, realize this may be the thing that gets that the contract won't accept it. I'm okay with that. I want you to be comfortable in the deal. I want you to be comfortable in the house and have a good experience, as good an experience as we can have in this. If you love the house, let's go in guns blazing. If you're about the house, then what's your next tier down, and realize interest rates are going up. Your time frame for moving is now shortened. Do the best and make the best offer that you can. And that's how I do it. Sometimes we win them, sometimes we don't, but at least I've kept my client and the search continues, which is a plus and a minus. And then going in with your best offer. A year ago, we could say, hey, if they're close, get back to me and let me know, and we'll sweeten the pot. No, there's none of that anymore. Guns blazing, the nuclear options on the table, especially if this is the one that they want, and making the agent feel good about you as the buyers, that you're going to, do what they want you to do. And I think lenders are important. I think working with local lenders and playing up that, my lenders will call the agent and say, hey, this guy is solid. And so the listing agent won't usually pick up the phone. That's okay, but they know they've got a voicemail from the local lender that says, this person is solid. You will have no problems. I'm enjoying working with this. We're going to get this done. I use local appraisers. So if there's any question in any of those other offers about who they're using as a lender, who they're going to use as an appraiser, that is good. And if you can work with your local lenders to get an appraisal waiver on a property in advance, that also helps, because then you don't have to have the conversation about an appraisal gap or anything. And that agent's like, what do you mean there's no appraisal at all? Yeah, none at all. That's how solid this client is. That's how they want, how much they want. So your client's not going to be sweating out 2 weeks before closing whether or not it's going to appraise or not. You don't have to worry about it. They can just be packing and going on.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You said that you had the opportunity to choose the appraiser. I didn't know we
No.
had. Oh,
No,
okay.
we don't have the opportunity to choose the appraiser.
But maybe local lenders. will
Local
use-
lenders will use local appraisers.
Gotcha.
And
That's
so
something
I
that
play
kind of-
that up
Got
a
it.
lot, and they have,
Gotcha.
they have
Yeah.
good people who are solid and respected in the building, in the
Yeah.
business. And I do have a lot of respect, even in this crazy market, for our appraisers, and that they are coming up with fair values, not ones that we all like all the time, but they are fair and they're doing their due diligence. Skylar.
So I'm nowhere gonna be as energetic as both of them. I got Invisalign a week ago and I'm down from 8 cups of coffee a day to lucky if I get 2 a day. So I'm gonna stay steady. But they hit a lot of sweet spots. As far as inspections, I see a lot of buyer's agents still doing 12 or 10-day inspection periods. Listing agent is not going to accept that. You have to find an inspector that will get in there within 5 to 7 days, because yours isn't gonna go to the bottom of the pile, but it's definitely gonna be down towards the end. To hit on what Tracy said, also, if it's an online lender such as Rocket Mortgage or Quicken Loans, listing agents aren't really gonna consider it their pain to deal with. If your client is working with them and refuses to go with a local lender, let them lose 2 to 3 offers and then tell them to go rate shop with another lender, and then explain to them that the listing agents don't know that lender on the other side, so they don't trust them. So get them with someone that is local after they've missed out on 2 to 3, because usually after a couple weeks of working with the online lender, they're not going to have good communication with them. They're going to talk with 4 to 5 different people at that point, and they're going to be frustrated dealing with them. So it won't be hard once you get to that point to pass them off to a local lender such as Cable. If you don't know contracts, learn them quickly. One, so you can write a proper contract, because if it's messy as heck, the listing agent's going to know that you don't know what you are doing. Not to say they're not going to want to work with you, but they know that there will be headaches to come down the road. Building expectations and relationships with other realtors and lenders. So with how fast paced the market is, you need to tell the client when they need to tell you if they're going to make an offer. Not, we'll think on it and get back to you, because we'll think on it and get back to you means we'll get to work and then it'll be 5 o'clock and then we'll say we want to put in an offer. Well, they've already reviewed offers. because listing agents aren't gonna sit around and wait. They're already getting above list, waiving appraisals, waiving inspections. So what's one other one for them to sit around and wait on? They don't care. And then the other part of that is relationships. In the past year, I can already name just sitting here 3 deals I've won over other realtors because I have good relationships with those realtors and they know I take my clients to close. They're not gonna walk because they got cold feet. I had a client call me, what's today, Thursday? Monday evening, he just went under contract Sunday, said he wanted to walk. I said, it doesn't work that way. You can't do that. Your offer's been accepted. You're now under contract. There are lots of realtors in this town that will let their client roll over and walk out. Questions?
I was curious, you had said one thing, which was like, let them lose 2 or 3 offers and then tell them to shop the rates. I was curious, what are other things that you do when they've lost like 1 or 2 that you're like, you try to escalate them or push them? What are ways you try and say, hey, let's do this to try and make ours stronger, and how do you go about those conversations?
Sales is psychological. So we know what a property's worth, and if they have 5 offers, where they're gonna go. So kind of where John took it, if you know where you want them to be, they're looking for you to where to list it or to where to go at on price. So say it's at 200 and say, well, I think if you were to do an escalation up to 215 and do it there, or 218, 220, generally most of the time, 80–90% of the time, they're gonna go off that number that you immediately throw out. Don't second guess, don't come down. That number, they're gonna go with more than likely half the time, as long as they like the house, they're comfortable with it and qualify for it.
I got a couple things. John touched upon it a little, more specifically. If you have a really good relationship, as Skylar said, with that other agent, before you even go through the threshold and you already know this is like a top one for your client, you've got to get that listing agent on the phone, and this is a perfect question to ask. Say, listen, we haven't been there yet. I just want full knowledge. In a perfect world, what is the perfect date for your client to close? If you have that date, I'm telling you, the other buyer agents are not asking this. You've asked what the perfect date is. They always have one. Trust me, they have one. They're either buying another house, they're going to Texas for school, whatever. You have that perfect date, and miracle enough, you have that date where, now that this thing happened with Bureau of Insurance, where does your seller have a relationship with an attorney or a closing company that they would like to close at? Choose theirs. I'm telling you, these are little things that matter. And if you don't think they matter, if you are neck and neck with someone else, you have their perfect closing date and you're closing at the company that they wanted to represent them, because now, depending upon what it is, they may or may not can't be represented anymore unless it's just deed prep. So those are little things. Is there anything that they would like to leave in the house that we may purchase to help them out on moving expenses? We will put that in a personal property addendum and we're gonna put some money on it. Right? So make it so gosh darn attractive for that seller, and you're thinking out of the box on what other agents are not doing. So that's just a tip that has worked for me. I know most of my production was in Williamsburg, but I started way back in late 04, 05. We were in a very similar market like this, and that's just how we had to think. We had to go, what does the seller want? What does this seller want? And I did one crazy thing. Don't know if anybody will do it, but I did a reverse offer and I won. Y'all know what that is. I basically presented an offer with the purchase price and the closing date blank. And I called the listing agent and I said, I'm getting ready to send you an offer with the information you're gonna need to send us an offer. Wow. She said, what? We don't do that. I don't think that's legal. Alice? I said, it is. Nobody says who has to make who the offer. So they had 4 offers. They took the highest of their offer. They picked their closing date. They picked their closing company. I left that blank too. And they put the purchase price. And all we had to do was sign it. They wanted the house so gosh darn bad, they signed it. That's called a reverse offer. I have not seen anybody do it here. But you have to be a crazy agent like me.
Did you send it to them signed? So whatever number they put in there, right, I need to
Oh,
get.
boy.
No, they just,
If they put in $2 million.
No.
Okay,
It was not signed.
okay.
Good question.
They knew, just in case you have a loan and you have to get a loan or whatever, but this was cash. It was an IBM. He got a golden parachute and he was from IBM retirement, retiring to Governor's Land. And they wanted this house, like, this is the one, this is what and guess who taught me to do that? My client. He was an engineer. He goes, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna fill out this. We're not gonna send it. Call the agent right now and tell him that those sellers are gonna make us an offer. I'm like,
Was it contingent on appraisal? No.
yeah.
Cash.
They just filled it in and buddy, and they go, yep, that's the
Okay, we'll
number.
do it.
We can do that number. And we won. Because guess what? It was on the seller's terms.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I like
so
that.
just
What does the
think,
seller want?
but you've got, some people aren't gonna answer their phone, and I know it's frustrating. I know. If you've got a good relationship with that listing agent, and you get some juice like that, your offers are gonna look more attractive. That's the only thing I have.
I'll add to that. I mean, I'll just piggyback off the reverse offer. So yeah, so I guess none of us have done a reverse offer. I just learned that term. But you could essentially do a reverse offer by saying, yo, agent, my friend, what do you need? What do you guys need? We have the money, we've got cash. Like you said,
Yeah,
what do you want your closing date to be? What is your closing company? Do you guys care more about that, or do you care more about just having a higher amount of money? What do you guys care about? We're gonna put it in there. This is what I'm thinking. What are you thinking? That's legal. That's okay. As long as it's in the best interest of your client, it works. Can run with that.
So highest and best offer versus escalation.
I hate that. John and I
We
were
were
talking
just,
about
was
that.
just talking about that.
Hate that. There's an agent in town who won't do escalations. And will say highest and best. First time, highest and best. You go to your client, and that's what I did, and we won with her. This is the highest and best. This is where we were when we were talking about an escalation. Are you comfortable going to that number? And is that the number you want to go with? If this is the house, go there. If it's not, then offer. But if this is one, I would say go there, and we won. We're closing next week.
So specifically, you just might as well just go all in if you really want.
Yeah, and or that people won't escalate above,
Right.
and that's the hard thing to determine. At least when this agent does fair to nobody or to everybody, to at least say, everybody and nobody. To say, okay, everybody's in the same boat. That's what they want out of the number. But it's hard because I've looked at just and escalations. We didn't take a cash offer on one of ours because of the terms. That was inspection versus inspection for information only with those caveats or more. We won't ask for anything. It was that versus in the cash offer is the other offer. And the agent made a cardinal mistake by telling us cash offer had never seen the property. You don't have to tell your agent. And she told us that, and it Mark like, oh, what if they come and see it and hate it, da 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 da. And so we went with the higher and no inspections.
There is a document for sight unseen that you can use for a contract, but if you use it, does it offer the buyer the ability to back out? I've never used it. I wouldn't recommend. using
I
it.
don't
So
think,
what's
I
the
think
big
it's
dollar
just
accept it?
no, we have it internally to cover ourselves, the way I understand it, double check with this. Yes, you never share it,
The
yeah.
sight unseen
Someone
Yeah.
sends it to me, I
Right.
send it.
Right.
is between you and the company.
Okay.
It's protecting the agent.
So you don't necessarily need to share that with the other
Right.
side, because that's gonna be like, well, they haven't even seen the property, and they don't know that. So that was the cardinal mistake with the cash offer.
And the last one, and this is real, I'll tell you what happened to me and my husband. We went up to, we put ourselves as buyers in the Roanoke MLS, because we're both in Roanoke. And Lake Properties, as you know, right now, I'm just telling you, if you don't have cash, forget it. I'm being totally serious. If you're on water with a dock, if it's not cash, somebody is cash will trump you. And I'm not gonna discourage you from having a client that needs a loan, because we did, and you never know who your seller is. But this was back in, 20, what are we now? 2022, 2020. We went up. It hit the MLS. My husband calls me at work. He goes, drop everything, come see this house. I can't. He goes, well, I'm going right now, get in the car, figure it out. And he already went to the computer and wrote 3 offers. We did need a loan. However, we were putting over $450,000 down in cash. We did have to finance 300 and some more, but everything was written. We saw the house, we presented the offer. They did accept our offer. We made a really short date. They needed a rent back. We charged them rent. This is just so amazing.
That's a whole different world.
They let them, yeah, this is a little different, a little before everything started crazy. So, this was Thanksgiving. We closed on November 23rd. My daughter came into town and I called up, we had already owned the house. So I called up my tenant, now the seller. I said, can I show my daughter the house? Very funny story. We came up there, she went to look at the house. This could be awesome. He met me out in the driveway. He goes, did I ever tell you how many offers we got the day you made the offer? I said, no. He said, well, we had 3, but we chose y'all. And I said, okay. And he goes, well, the one behind you was cash for $10,000 more than y'all offered, and they weren't charging us rent like y'all were. And I'm like, it was cash, $10,000 more, and they weren't charging you rent, and we charged you $2,500. And he goes, yeah. And I said, Stan, why did you sell us the house? He said, because I have so much pride in all this work I've done to this house. And we know from our neighbor that the agent came by herself and FaceTimed it. And they had never seen it. And I told my wife it was worth the $10,000 to me that you and your husband and your dog, I'm like, I'm sorry about that. He goes, it's okay, you held him the whole time, because the neighbors were like watching. You never dropped your little dog. And I said, I'm so sorry, I have no dog. But he said, we picked your offer because you and your husband saw it. So sometimes you just don't know what they're thinking. But we did win it over cash.
Doesn't happen.
It's rare, I'm saying, but there's rare moments happen, so, don't ever, I would normally say, don't do it, but there's coming, Roanoke with the coming soons. The houses on the Bedford County side, that can be short-term rentals. They're going $200,000 over list. Sight unseen contracts before the coming soon goes active, meaning they're writing without seeing the house. My husband wrote on 1 million, his buyers went 100,000 over, sight unseen, and they did not win. It went for 1.2, we closed 2 months ago. Sight unseen, 1.2 million. I don't know where all these people get the money, but it's been great. Does anybody have any more questions for a wonderful panel? Because they've been winning some serious multiple offer situations. I thought they'd be great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, yeah.
If you just feel it here. Silly. Thank you, guys. That was really awesome.